Well, New Testament readers, welcome to week 12. In this week, we are going to begin the Gospel of Luke, which is the third of the three synoptic Gospels. Now, it's a synoptic Gospel, as maybe we've become familiar with that term, one of the three Gospels that has so much material that overlaps and is even verbally similar or identical. So, a lot of material in Luke is already going to be familiar from Matthew and Mark, but you're going to find that about half of the Gospel of Luke is found only in Luke, and that's going to include some of the best known parts of Jesus' story. And that's going to include these early chapters that we'll be reading this week. We're going to be reading the story of Jesus' birth, and that's kind of convenient because if you're on schedule with this, you're reading this in the week before Advent, and so we're getting ready, as it were. Now, as you're reading this, you're going to realize, we've got two stories of Jesus' birth and infancy, one in Matthew, one in Luke. They are different stories. There's not a lot of overlap except Mary, Joseph, Bethlehem, virgin. That kind of covers it. Beyond that, and definitely lots of involvement from God, of course. But this story is going to put John the Baptist and Jesus in parallel. It's going to kind of ping pong back and forth. An announcement about John the Baptist, an announcement about Jesus. The birth of John the Baptist with wonders that happen, the birth of Jesus with wonders that happen. Before that, kind of sandwiched in the middle, we've got the meeting of the mothers. Then at the end of the whole thing, we've got a story about Jesus, which is just about Jesus, no parallel with John. Well, what is Luke, the writer of this gospel, doing with this? He's showing us John and Jesus belong to the same divine story. This is God bringing his work in the world to a climax, and they're both involved in this. But Jesus is the primary one. In every way that they are together, Jesus is always the superior. Now, you're also going to realize Luke has kind of given us the musical version. What is this, like Fiddler on the Roof or Hamilton? Okay, I'll go for those comparisons. Mary is going to sing. Zechariah is going to sing. An army, yes, an army of angels, because the heavenly host, the word host translates a Greek word meaning army. An army sings for Jesus. And then the old guy Simeon, he sings too. Short song, kind of at the end. So there's song, which is kind of interpreting what's going on, which is a great way for a story to be told. And you're going to see a big contrast between Jesus, the infant king, who is in this lowly, out-of-the-way place and who's lying in a feeding trough for animals, whose birth is being announced to shepherds, and Caesar, who says, "I'm going to tax the whole world, y'all, and you can't stop me." It's going to be quite a contrast there. And that contrast, of course, undergirds just a lot of the story of Jesus, as you've already seen from Matthew and Mark. So we're going to go on. We'll see, as in Matthew and Mark, Jesus is baptized by John. He stands in solidarity with sinners. We're going to see a genealogy of Jesus, not maybe the most interesting thing, but notice how it goes all the way back to Adam, because Luke wants to emphasize this is the human family, all of us being invited back into God's blessing. Jesus is going to prevail over the devil in the wilderness, just as he does in Matthew and Mark. Then he's going to be going to his hometown synagogue, where he'll say, what the prophet Isaiah spoke of, that's what I'm doing, proclaiming the good news to the poor, the year of God's Jubilee. I bring that. And his people are going to say, we saw you grow up. We knew you in middle school, bro. We know you're not the one. And they're actually going to try to kill him, but they won't. But we've been warned. There's going to be lots of opposition there. But it's not all opposition, because then we're going to see narrated how Jesus is active in other places, how he's healing the sick, cleansing lepers, how he is casting out demons, and how many people are following him, listening to him, hanging on his words. He's doing what he talked about from that text in Isaiah that he quoted in the synagogue. Okay, so can you tell I'm a little pumped up about this? I think it's a very, very interesting and exciting story that Luke tells us. All the tellings of the story of Jesus are interesting and exciting, but just some delicious stuff in this one. So happy reading as you continue on this journey through the New Testament.